explain
Tell the people about the UFOs.
It's not important which ones I've seen, but
I'm going to give you some choices. Are you going to slurp into the microphone?
The finding of a flying dick.
You say a flying dick?
Flying discs. Gaiam should know that this particular yoga mat comes with a defect.
I don't want to talk about it!
Where if it's face down with the cork on the ground, it'll get sweaty and it'll fart as...
Today I want to talk about Gaia, or Netflix for Yogis, as it likes to call itself. It's a streaming platform that focuses on spirituality and mind-expanding content, and a lot of it ends up being pretty pseudo-scientific and conspiracy-minded. So I signed up for a free trial, a week-long trial, and so I spent most of today going through their content. So much of the content would be familiar to you if you've ever watched an episode of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. A lot of the content is very similar.
Also in Egypt was this gate that was found in the Egyptian village of Nazlet el Shanan, just outside the Giza wall, and it's adorned at the top with a little small figure with a big head and big dark eyes, very reminiscent of an alien gray. To the right is a rock carving, which again looks nothing less than a alien gray. This gate, by the way, has now been taken down, removed, and just like everything else, they try to hide away the evidence of extraterrestrial contact or pre-history civilizations.
There's also some meditations and some yoga videos. Oh my God, it's working. Beautiful. How do you feel?
Not bad.
A lot of that stuff, while inoffensive, is also pretty similar to anything that you could find on YouTube for free. A lot of the production quality behind the stuff that Gaia produces, that's Gaia original content, is just like a YouTube video. Like, it's just like a PowerPoint presentation or like a very average YouTube video. So Cosmic Disclosure has this fun little preview.
There are two types of lizard or reptilian kind of beings. When they appear on Earth, they try to do it covertly. Some come from a total different reality, others come from different planets. They all have their own agenda.
I was all excited to learn about different types of aliens, but then you get to the actual show and it's just these three guys droning on and on.
Way, whereas the Greys are really strong intellectual, have a strong intellectual approach to everything and technology approach. And they did that because they were able and are still able to move between temporal dynamics, which means they can, time travel in some way or another.
Reminds me of little kids when they're getting ready to play an imaginary game and they get stuck in the phase where they're just describing what they look like and what their names are and what color their fur is. This whole series, it's just them talking. It doesn't cut to anything. There's very sparse graphics and editing. It's just dudes talking. And a lot of the stuff I found you could also find, like a lot of the series on Gaia, I could also find on Amazon Prime subscriptions and Tubi. So if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, it's probably not worth the $11.99 a month, which is only like $4 less than Netflix, and I'm just not sure that you're getting bang for your buck. So while the content that I saw in Gaia, it didn't seem like it was as exciting of a conspiracy theory hub as I was hoping, but I didn't sign up for the events, which are $299 a year. So I don't know, maybe that's where the good stuff is. So when Demi Lovato announced their ambassadorship with Gaia, there was an article in Teen Vogue that said something like, why that's a problem. Demi Lovato has expressed a lot of interest in aliens and their existence among us, so I think that's what drew them to Gaia.
Demi Lovato is standing up for extraterrestrials. The 29-year-old singer is revealing why they don't use the word alien when referring to extraterrestrial beings. Quote, I think that we have to stop calling them aliens because aliens is a derogatory term for anything. That's why I like to call them ETs, they told Pedestrian TV.
And they called Gaia a hub for conspiracy theories and vaccine misinformation. A lot of the stuff about it being a hub for conspiracy theories comes from the fact that David Icke makes videos for Gaia. He was recently kicked off of Twitter for promoting the idea that COVID might be caused by 5G. He's a big proponent of the idea that that the Rothschilds, which is a powerful Jewish European banking dynasty, are actually multidimensional, shape-shifting reptilians from another planet. And that, to me, comes off as pretty funny, except when you realize that has pretty anti-Semitic overtones. It's the same old shit. Like, they do this, I feel like every century, there's a conspiracy theory that, like, oh, the Jews are behind everything and controlling the world banks and blah, blah, blah. It's the same old thing, except this one has reptilian overlords in it for just a new twist on an old classic. I think what annoys people the most about them is that they also have a lot of autism vaccine conspiracy theories, and how the mercury and preservatives that they put in the vaccine is part of what may be causing the autism epidemic. H. Bomber Guy did a really thorough, fantastic video about the vaccine conspiracy theories and autism, so you should watch that if that's a topic you're interested in. I went into my Gaia trial membership really expecting to find just off-the-wall bananas conspiracy theories, but actually a lot of the stuff I found was more just really boring. If you're not into that kind of new age stuff, it's hard to get into a lot of what they're saying. And like I said, when I perused Gaia, I actually didn't see anything that extreme. I didn't watch everything. I just sort of skimmed the surface. I looked for COVID content on Gaia, and the only thing I found was this episode from the Open Mind series where the hosts talk about, oh, isn't it so nice how since the shutdown people have been engaging more and looking at their phones less.
So strange that before the whole shutdown, the global shutdown occurred, people would go out to restaurants and we'd always comment. They'd be sitting there, a whole family with 4 or 5 people all on their devices, you know, on their cell phones.
Yeah.
Not even engaged with each other while they were all going to their favorite little cafes and restaurants.
Right.
And now, with none of that available, the engagement between people is just wonderful to see.
I wanted to talk about the founder, an interesting character named Jirka Rysavy. I got a lot of this information from a profile in Inc. From 1995. Jirka Rysavy came to Colorado from the Czech Republic in 1984 with a master's in engineering. At that point, he had already developed a love of living in the mountains and a desire to grow his spiritual practice. In 1982, he lived alone in a shed high in the mountains on the Czech-Polish border, seeing only a few people over the course of nearly a year. I ran with a bighorn sheep, he says. He spent half of each day in meditation and the other half picking berries and other plants and attending to his basic needs. So then when he moved to Colorado, he kind of replicated that lifestyle. He lived in a remote mountain cabin, and according to Business Insider, he lived without running water, meditated daily, and befriended wild bears. So he got his start in the office supply industry. He acquired a computerized sales and inventory system from a Czech colleague. He was able to use that system to overcome some inefficiencies in the office supply chain. He turned it into a billion-dollar company, and then he sold it, which is what allowed him to start Gaiam. So Gaiam, even if you haven't heard of them, if you've ever done yoga, if you own a yoga mat, it's probably a Gaiam yoga mat. I feel like it's one of the most common kind of basic yoga equipment brands in the US. For the camera, if you look here, here. What does this say?
Gaiam.
Gaiam.
That's
very popular brand.
the
I didn't
real deal.
mean to buy this. But
Gaiam should know that this particular yoga mat comes with a defect.
I don't want to talk about it.
Where if it's face down with the cork on the ground, it'll get sweaty and it'll fart as you impact it with
When
your
you
body.
do what all the
in the
instructors say you're supposed to do, which is press your lower back into the mat, it makes a very profound,
Perfect whoopee cushion.
wet farting sound. And so like he's walked into the living room only to hear me scream, "I'm not farting, it's a stupid yoga mat." Anyway.
Best yoga mat ever.
So yeah, Gaiam, if you're listening, work on that. In 2009, he started developing a streaming service that would go along with Gaiam that would focus on yoga and meditation. In 2016, Gaiam was sold to Sequential Brands Group, and the streaming service, now just called Gaia, continued under Rasavi's direction. I also saw in Insider this article about what it's like to work at Gaia, and they interviewed some former employees. I want to read part of that article. "He sat on the table, cross-legged, and just stared into my eyes," one former employee recalled. Some employees speculated without proof that Rasavi would use those opportunities to scan people psychically. Gaia denied that Rasavi supernaturally appraised applicants, and it said it hires based on business need, candidate qualification, and best fit. It's almost like when you hire people specifically for producing and promoting kooky content, they're going to come in with some of their own kooky ideas. In 2015, Jirka Rasavi came out with his own film called The Secret of Water. In it, he has a lot of beautiful footage of water, and then a lot of really long, gratuitous shots like this one. This goes on for 15 full seconds, just water dropping into a spoon. But in it, he explains a theory that water records information because of its molecules or something.
The ability of the cluster structures confirm the hypothesis that water is capable of recording and storing information.
Because of this property, water can supposedly be infused with the memory of how to make living organisms live longer.
On Okinawa Island in Japan, people live incredibly long lives. They suffer very few cases of common human diseases, such as diabetes, arteriosclerosis, and cancer. One of the explanations is that they drink water vitalized by the coral their island rests on. These natural bodies are not only stunningly beautiful, but also extremely long-lived. The most ancient of them are more than 600 million years old. The coral imprints the water with information about longevity, which is then passed over to the water medium of the human body, tuning it for long life.
Max Planck once said that everything is a wave. In other words, when we write a word on a sheet of paper and apply it to water, we can see that the water crystal changes its form. It means a transformation of the water itself under the influence of the frequencies that we emit with this word.
The first word Dr. Emoto's research team exposed water to was arigato, Japanese for thank you. Next, we see what happened when they used negative words, such as you fool. Words of beauty create beautiful crystals. Gentle words manifest delicate crystals.
Dr. Emoto's experiments have been called pseudo-scientific. I found this article from the Skeptical Inquirer that quotes Professor William Tiller from Stanford University, who says that Dr. Emoto's experiments would be very easy to tamper with, and it's not difficult, he points out, to change the structure of water crystals. Hey, Andrew, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the program.
It's great to be here.
A documentary called Heal, which is about how we all have the power to heal within. We don't need medicine. Medicine is a hoax.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with lupus, and I would say about 4 years ago, I was also diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
I was diagnosed with Lyme's disease 16 years ago, and my MS 15 years ago.
Listen a lot.
It is Meadow from The Sopranos.
Oh.
Jamie Lynn Sigler.
Ask you to do here today is to trust and believe and surrender.
No, looking at your necklace, no, I will reject your request to trust you.
Yeah.
With that.
Right.
The puka chains with this emblem on it. That's it. Your credibility shot. You could have gone with credibility. Or put on that goddamn necklace.
But Eastern medicine says, basically, and energy medicine says that as human beings, we've learned how to hold on to all of our emotions. And in doing so, we create density in our body. Medicine has labeled cancer, fibromyalgia,
Let him go.
Crohn's disease.
Things that Western medicine has labeled cancer. It's blocked energy.
Right.
Stupid.
It's
Fascinated with healers and how our thoughts and emotions affect our health.
She's in love with this.
Bet you are, baby.
She's been looking forward to this for weeks.
I'm fascinated with blonde women who are fascinated with healers.
Produce tonic chemicals. Toxic thoughts produce toxic chemicals.
Blue thoughts produce blue chemicals. Green thoughts produce green. It's obvious.
Energy healers and mind-body medicine may not be considered normal. But what's not normal to me is that so many people are sick these days. I mean, the people in this room are just some of my...
So many people are sick these days. I think if you look at where we are in history in terms of when people die,
Yeah.
I don't think people are...
There's a spectacular amount of wellness these days.
There's
More
quite
than
a
ever.
bit of wellness.
Mm-hmm.
When they established the social security, like the age at which you can collect social security, it was 65 because almost everyone was dead by that time. And now,
Save some money.
like social security, like one of the big problems facing it is people, like medicine had to advance so fucking much that now we have people living way past that, and it's become a very hard, very long lifetimes are much harder to subsidize.
That's why they introduced COVID-19.
Now you're getting it.
To bring that right back down.
About 1980, there really wasn't much they could do for you. They could, big things like broken bones, births, some troubled births. But heart disease, cancer, organ failure, you just died. And
Right.
They could be palliative care and things like that. And there were some miracles, and they did like the first heart transplant in like 1968, I think. Human life is extended by 20 years just in my lifetime. I don't think you can find another time in human history when in one person's lifetime, life expectancy in their own country increased by that much. It isn't the case. Medicine, my point is medicine was...
They might be onto something.
I made the turn, a four-wheel drive Bronco going about 55 miles an hour hit me from behind and catapulted me out of my bicycle. The compressive force compressed 6 vertebrae in my spine. The prognosis was I'd probably never walk again. I just had this one thought, and the thought was the power that made the body heals the body. And I couldn't stop thinking about that because I knew that there's an intelligence that's giving us life, that keeps our heart beating and digesting our food. So I decided that I was going to make contact with this intelligence. And I was going to give it a plan, a template, a design. And when I was happy with my creation, I was going to surrender this creation to a greater mind because it knows how to heal way better than I do. I would start off in my mind reconstructing my spine vertebrae per vertebrae. And then I...
Thinking about it.
Spine, I'm fixing
So for 6 weeks, I went through this incredible dark night of the soul.
No.
At the end of 6 weeks, I went through the whole entire process without losing my attention. And it was like I hit a tennis ball in the sweet spot. Something clicked in that moment. I clicked. I started noticing significant changes in my body. My motor function started coming back, and my body began to change dramatically. And I was back on my feet in 10 weeks, and back training again at 12 weeks, and I just made a deal with myself. And the deal was that if I was ever able to walk again, I'd spend the rest of my life studying the mind-body connection and mind over matter.
The best science of our time is now showing that every organ in the human body has the ability to heal itself, given the right environment. Even the organs we were told could not. So spinal cord, tissue.
I mean, look at his hair. Like...
He spent more money on his suit and hair than...
He didn't spend money on his hair, Andrew. He thought it like that.
Oh, right. No, those are plugs. This is a formerly bald man. Look, just shield. See?
How do you know?
We can smell our own. Can always tell a plug job.
I'll have to remember that trick. Just...
He spent a couple of years bald and miserable and fixed it with
his mind.
No.
Or the poofed up fake hair. When somebody makes, they're creating themselves to a fake character. Another tell here is this turtleneck. You know.
It's not a turtleneck.
Whatever, just
it's
the no tie, the no collar.
Collar.
With a black pinstripe coat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just
clearly a
fraud,
shyster.
A fraud. Yeah.
I feel like it's changed from the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon to the 1 degree of cancer.
Has our world and our food become so toxic that illness is inevitable?
I can think of one person who I know who's had cancer.
I've worked with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, shit.
So 1 degree.
Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and leave a like if you liked it. All right, see you in the next video.